Recently, Foxconn's Zhengzhou factory has seen a massive wave of resignations, with employees leaving to return home. The factory's main rows were packed with workers who had completed the resignation process, and many people shared photos and videos of the scene online. Videos show employees waiting in line with worried expressions. Some are holding luggage, while others are accompanied by family members. The line stretched from morning until noon. Those near the front of the line appeared more patient, while those further back seemed anxious and restless. It's not just the Zhengzhou factory experiencing issues. Foxconn's factory in Huizhou, Guangdong, has also seen a wave of layoffs.
Big news is coming out of Foxconn in Longxi, Huizhou. Many employees are being laid off, one after the other. Could it be that Foxconn is planning to leave Longxi? According to reliable information, a mysterious group has spent over 2 billion yuan to buy the factory. Foxconn has been in Longxi for over a decade. It occupies more than 1 million square meters and once employed over 20,000 people. Back then, many people bought homes here because of the factory. But in recent years, business hasn't been good, and the number of employees has dropped to just a few hundred. Property prices in Longxi have fallen significantly as a result. If Foxconn really moves out, it will have a huge impact on local housing prices. On December 26, 2024, I received news that I had been laid off by Foxconn. One moment, I was at work, and the next moment, I was asked to sign a severance agreement with HR. The whole process took less than 30 minutes, ending my 6 years at Foxconn. The compensation amount was satisfactory, but as I walked out, I felt an emptiness. What's next for me? Can life restart at any moment?
As the world's largest contract manufacturer, Foxconn operates factories across the globe. Within China alone, its scale is massive, with over 40 industrial parks located in key regions like the Pearl River Delta, Yangtze River Delta, and Bohai Economic Rim. Major sites include Shenzhen, Zhengzhou, Taiyuan, Chengdu, and Chongqing. Toward the end of 2024, numerous posts on platforms like Xiaohongshu and Douyin reported significant layoffs at various Foxconn factories across the country. One user on Xiaohongshu revealed that Taiyuan's Foxconn laid off 20% of its workforce in 2024, with plans for a further 37% reduction in 2025. Another user mentioned that the Anqing factory had been completely shut down, with all employees leaving by the end of 2024. Foxconn's recent layoffs have sparked heated discussions on Douyin. One user wrote, "I work at Foxconn in Chengdu. Earlier this year, I went to Vietnam for a few months, and I've already been notified to head there early again next year, 2025. They're gradually moving operations over." Another user shared, "I work at Taiyuan Foxconn as a regular employee. I've been there for over 10 years and even applied for a higher level position. 2 of my colleagues were just laid off. We've been saying, today it's them, tomorrow it'll be us. I feel a bit unlucky, but as someone with only a vocational school diploma, I've been able to buy a house and a car because of this job. I'm honestly grateful, but still feel sad." Another user commented, "This company is still pretty decent. At least they follow the rules. Those who are laid off get compensation, and those who stay are treated fairly. If this were a local company, dreaming of N+1 compensation would be impossible. They just find ways to push you out without paying." N+1 compensation refers to severance pay calculated by an employee's years in service at the company. For every full year worked, they receive 1 month's salary, with an additional month's salary added as a bonus. Some online commenters have noted that large numbers of employees are still leaving Foxconn daily. One even speculated, "I think Foxconn is about to leave mainland China." Others joked, "If Foxconn leaves, will half the young people with suitcases at Zhengzhou railway station disappear too?" So far, there have been no authoritative news reports confirming large-scale layoffs at Foxconn, and the company itself has not made any public statements. But the question remains, is Foxconn really preparing to completely withdraw from China? For a company of Foxconn's scale, even small changes can have a huge impact on the local businesses and industrial ecosystems. A shop owner near Foxconn Shenzhen site recently expressed her struggles, saying it's so hard to run a business these days. Bustling days of Foxconn City are long gone. Even though this is supposed to be the peak hiring season for Foxconn, the surrounding shops are closing down. Many have signs saying "for lease." The few that remain open are barely hanging on. A woman running a Foxconn labor agency shared her perspective. "This year has been the worst I've seen. Winter is usually our busy season. But it's been unusually quiet. The streets are empty, and most shops have closed. Some people have gone home early for the new year, while others have moved to other cities. I don't know if this is due to reduced spending or just a lack of spending altogether. Every day I wait for customers, but barely anyone comes. Compared to previous years, the streets feel desolate, and many stores have shut down. Even cigarette brands like Zhonghua or Furongwang, which used to be expensive, have dropped in price, while cheaper cigarettes are selling well. Big companies are cutting salaries and jobs, while small businesses have fewer orders and are closing down. So many people are out of work and struggling to find jobs, and for those who left Foxconn thinking factory work was dull or paid too little, they're told to start a business instead. But once you open a shop, you're just working to pay the landlord. You end up with more staff than customers and constantly worry about foot traffic. Some worry that if Foxconn leaves, other companies might follow. What will happen to China then? Will unemployment pressures increase even more? Foxconn is part of Taiwan's Honghai Precision Industry Company Limited, a global electronics manufacturing giant that employs millions of workers worldwide. The company owes much of its success to its founder, Terry Gou, and its strong partnership with Apple. Foxconn's potential exit from China appears to be a business decision, but it's deeply tied to complex global dynamics. When Donald Trump was first elected president, he proposed imposing tariffs on goods imported from countries like China. In response, Honhai began making significant investments outside China to reduce reliance on the mainland. Over the past 2 years, the company has heavily invested in countries such as the United States, India, Mexico, Vietnam, and Thailand. Reports show that Foxconn plans to invest $30 billion over the next few years to build new production facilities in these countries. This amount is nearly equal to its total investment in mainland China in recent years. Such a move isn't just about market expansion, it's a strategic shift. For instance, Honhai has been increasing its presence in the U.S. On December 30th, 2024, it announced that its subsidiary, Phi Holdings USA Incorporated, had acquired 8 U.S. subsidiaries, including Cloud Network Technology USA Incorporated, for $350 million. Taiwanese media cited industry experts who believe this move is aimed at expanding production capacity for artificial intelligence servers, aligning with policies anticipated under the new Trump administration. Foxconn's chairman, Yong Liu, previously stated that the company would finalize its U.S. strategy once Trump's policies become clearer. AI products and electric vehicles will require localized manufacturing capabilities, and the group plans to continue increasing its U.S. investments. Honhai currently employs nearly 5,000 workers in the U.S. with annual revenues of $25.6 billion, and its operations are steadily expanding. In late November 2024, Foxconn announced $33 million in investment by its subsidiary to acquire land and facilities in Harris County, Texas. Industry experts believe this investment is aimed at expanding AI server production lines to serve North American clients. The New York Times reported that Foxconn's actions represent a broader trend among multinational corporations, especially those from Asia. Since the U.S.-China trade war began during Trump's first term as president, many companies have been restructuring their supply chains and moving manufacturing operations out of China. Manufacturers aim to diversify production to minimize the impact of potential new tariffs. Foxconn's departure raises deeper questions. Ultimately, it reflects the ongoing rivalry between the U.S. and China. The pressure exerted by the U.S. appears to be working. The U.S.-China trade war began in 2018, when the Trump administration imposed high tariffs on Chinese goods, aiming to force multinational companies to leave China. The Biden administration not only maintained these policies, but tightened them further. The U.S. has also rallied its allies to build a China-free supply chain. In this challenging environment, Foxconn faces tough decisions. On one hand, the U.S. government and Apple continue to push Foxconn to diversify production outside of China, encouraging investments in countries like India and Mexico. On the other hand, keeping factories in China means dealing with escalating U.S. tariffs, stricter policies, and supply chain pressures. India and Vietnam, with their low labor costs and relatively stable environments, have become top destinations for Apple's supply chain. As a key Apple partner, Foxconn has actively followed suit, making significant investments in India. According to reports, Foxconn established a factory in Tamil Nadu, southern India, in 2019, and has been steadily increasing its production capacity. Currently, at least 3 Apple suppliers assemble iPhones in India: Foxconn and Pegatron in Tamil Nadu, and Wistron in Karnataka. In November 2024, 2 unnamed Indian government officials revealed that Foxconn plans to significantly expand its iPhone factory in India. Over the next 2 years, the company intends to triple its workforce there to 70,000 employees. With more Apple production lines moving to India, JP Morgan analysts predict that by 2025, 1 in every 4 iPhones will be made in India. At the same time, India's role in the global supply chain continues to rise, signaling Apple's growing commitment to the Indian market. Recent reports also indicate that by 2025, Apple plans to introduce AirPods in India for the first time. Starting in the first quarter of next year, Foxconn's Hyderabad factory will handle assembly of the wireless earbuds. This marks another major Apple product shifting its production to India. Beyond India, Foxconn is also investing heavily in Vietnam. On November 5, 2024, Foxconn subsidiary Zhengzhou Technology announced an $80 million investment in Bakiang province. This includes $20 million from Zhengzhou itself and another $60 million through loan financing, aimed at manufacturing and processing electronic components, particularly substrate packaging. This project is waiting approval from Vietnamese authorities and was expected to break ground as early as December 2024. Zhengzhou Technology, Foxconn subsidiary, estimates that its new factory in Vietnam will be completed by May 2026, with trial production beginning in June and mass production starting by December of the same year. The facility will primarily produce co-packaged optics, CPO components. Once the expansion is complete, the factory will have an annual production capacity of 4.5 million units, all of which will be exported to the US, the EU, and Japan. Foxconn first entered Vietnam in 2000 with 3 small factories focused on assembling electronics like computer and automotive parts. At the time, the operations were relatively modest in scale. Over the years, Foxconn has significantly increased its investments in Vietnam. In February 2023, Foxconn subsidiary acquired around 450,000 square meters of land in Bakiang province. By June 2024, it established Foxconn Precision Circuit Board Company Limited and began constructing a printed circuit board manufacturing plant. This project represents a total investment of over $380 million. Recent large-scale projects include 2 investments in northern Vietnam. In July 2024, Foxconn received an investment license from the Quang Ninh provincial government for 2 initiatives totaling $550 million. The first project will produce smart entertainment products. The second involves a $290 million investment to manufacture smart system devices. Both projects are scheduled to be completed by July 2026. Foxconn's ambitions extend beyond electronics assembly. The company is now venturing into servers, semiconductors, and electric vehicles. On October 8, 2024, Foxconn announced plans to build the world's largest production base for NVIDIA's GB200 graphics superchips in Mexico. Foxconn chairman Yang Liu confirmed that the factory, currently under construction, will have very large production capacity, although he did not share specific details. Observers have noted that Foxconn has already established significant operations in Mexico, with over $500 million invested in Chihuahua State alone. Additionally, the Thai government approved a $300 million investment by a Foxconn subsidiary on December 11, 2024. This investment will focus on producing components and equipment for Foxconn's computer chip business. The Secretary General of Thailand's Board of Investment stated, Thailand is formulating a national semiconductor strategy, and the investment by a key member of the Foxconn Technology Group is perfectly timed. Regarding Foxconn's recent wave of overseas expansion, Chiu Shifang, a senior analyst at the Taiwan Institute of Economic Research, noted that Trump's threat of increased tariffs may have prompted Foxconn to expand its investments outside China. Foxconn has already devised contingency plans in response to such pressures. However, replicating the manufacturing model of Foxconn's Chinese factories in other countries is no easy task. Over the years, Foxconn's operations in China have benefited greatly from the government's infrastructure investments. Foxconn had previously built smaller-scale factories in other countries, but their significance pales compared to its massive operations in China, which contribute the lion's share of the company's revenue. As early as 2023, Foxconn chairman Yang Liu vowed to reduce this dependency on China. In July 2024, as production ramped up for the iPhone 16 during its peak manufacturing season, Foxconn began recruiting in Henan's Zhengzhou with high salaries, drawing a wave of young applicants. Recruitment agencies reported that 50,000 workers were hired within 2 weeks. While some Chinese internet users viewed Foxconn's return to China as a significant move, others argued that most of these hires were temporary workers. They're employed under contracts with third-party staffing agencies, allowing Foxconn to rapidly expand production capacity during peak seasons. However, once the demand subsides, these temporary workers are let go. Foxconn operates 3 major facilities in Zhengzhou: the Airport Zone, the Economic Development Zone, and Baisha Town. According to a report by Chinese state media outlet The Paper, Foxconn's return to Zhengzhou involves a shift towards new businesses. On July 22, 2024, Foxconn signed a strategic operation agreement with the Henan provincial government, announcing a 1 billion RMB investment in electric vehicles, energy storage batteries, and robotics industries. Assistant Professor Liu Qifeng at the Asia-Pacific Affairs Program at Taiwan Sun Yat-sen University and a former resident of India told Voice of America that Foxconn's partial return to China is closely tied to Apple's production strategies. While Apple has announced the production of the iPhone 16 in India, the manufacturing yield rates there have not met expectations. To mitigate risks, Apple has diversified its production lines back to China. Liu further analyzed that as a global enterprise, Apple must comply with environmental, social, and governance standards. In areas like environmental sustainability, labor conditions, and gender equality, India, as an emerging market, faces more challenges compared to China, which has long established itself as the world's manufacturing hub. As a result, China remains a fallback or flexible production base for Foxconn.